Welcome back, everybody. Today, the warm-up is going to be about perimeter and area. Those are two formulas that they expect you to know. You learned this back in 5th grade. This is actually some problems that came out of a 5th grade textbook and worksheet. So, perimeter, if you remember, is the distance around an object. You find it by adding up the length of each of the sides. Area, on the other hand, is finding all the little squares that are inside there and counting them up. So how many little squares fit inside. So let's do the perimeter first. Perimeter is the distance around. This is where you add the sides up. So this is 5 feet plus another 5 feet plus 2 feet plus 2 feet. Or you could have gone in order 5 plus 2 plus 5 plus 2. If you add all that up, that gives you 14 feet. So the perimeter is 14 feet. All right. Area. Now area is breaking it into little squares. So pretend that I split that right down the middle and that both this distance and this distance were the same. So this is 1 foot and 1 foot, which is 2 feet. Now I need to break this into 5 equal feet this way. So I'm going to eyeball this. It's not going to be exact, but we can have one there, one there. We'll say there's one here, and there's one here. Pretend that these were all lovely and even. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So pretend this is 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot, and 1 foot. I know that I didn't space them evenly, but if they were spaced evenly, it would add up to 5 feet. And of course, you have 2 feet this way. So when you find area, it's not the distance around, it's how many little squares you can fit inside. So if I counted these squares, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, this is 10 square feet, okay? Because each of these squares is 1 foot by 1 foot, which is 1 square foot. That is 1 square foot, 1 foot by 1 foot. So each of these is 1 square foot, so altogether there are 10 square feet. Now, we say the formula is area equals length times width. That's a shortcut. Instead of breaking it up into little squares and counting them, you could find it by multiplying length times width when it's a rectangle. And this is a rectangle, so I can multiply 5 times 2, and it tells me there are 10 little squares inside this. So this is 10 feet squared. And that's how you can do the 2 up there for squared. So 10 feet squared. If it's perimeter, it's just strictly feet. No squaring to it. But since I multiplied feet times feet, that is feet squared. All right, so we got perimeter and we have area. So same thing for number 2. The length is 7 yards and the width is 3 yards. We want to find the perimeter. This is a rectangle, so if you want to draw yourself a picture, you can. You've got 7, 3, 7, 3. So if I add all these up, 7 plus 3 plus 7 plus 3, that all adds up to 20 feet, or I'm sorry, 20 yards all the way around this. So perimeter is 20 yards. Don't forget the units on these. If they have units, use units. The area is length times width. So 7 times 3, if you multiply the 2 together, that means there are 21 little squares in here. 21 yards squared. Don't forget the 2 on the units because it's not plain yards, it's squared yards. And this would have been, if I wanted to draw this into little cubes here, you had 3 this way, and let's say we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to run out of room there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I don't think I did that very well at all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I needed another one in here. 6, 7. There we go. So we have 7 units this way, 3 units that way. If you added them all up, there were 21 little squares inside there. All right. Find the width of a rectangle with an area of 42 inches squared and a length of 7 inches. So remember, it's a rectangle, so you want to draw yourself a picture that helps. They tell you the area is that, and they say the length is 7 inches. So my length is 7. So remember, area is length times width. So 42 is equal to my length, which is 7, times some number. That's what I want to find, is how wide it was. Well, 7 times what is 42? If you multiply your multiplication facts, you know that that is 6. So my missing width is 6 inches. Okay, there is your warm-up. At least the first part of the warm-up, which is perimeter and area. Now, the second part of the warm-up is something from the past, because we want to review, because next week is your semester, the first semester exam, and that's going to cover everything in the first semester. So half of the lesson today will be new stuff, and the second half of the lesson will be old stuff, reviewing the first semester stuff. So here we go. Number 15 is the blast in the past. The number of water bottles used during a team's football practice varies directly. As soon as I see those words varies directly, you should be hearing ding, 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 and seeing little butterflies flying around your head. You don't need to read any further than that. Varies directly should tip you off to what kind of problem this is. Yes, it is a butterfly or a proportion problem. So you should say fraction equals a fraction. They're going to give you 2 numbers that make up the first fraction. They're going to give you a third number that goes over here, and then we're going to solve for the missing piece. So let's go find the first 2 numbers. It said the number of water bottles varies directly with the temperature. If a team uses 75 bottles when the temperature is 60, so 75 and 60 are my first two numbers. Does not matter which one you put on top or bottom, but we did bottles on top and we did temp on bottom, right? So I'm going to do the same thing over here with this one. So I need to decide if they give me temp or bottles. What is the temperature? So I don't know the temperature, but I know the bottles are 120. So bottles need to go on top, and my unknown x can go on bottom. So once you have it set up right, it's really easy. You cross multiply. This times this is equal to, so 60 times 120 is equal to, then loop up the other two, those butterfly wings, 75 times x. So this times this is equal to 75 times x. So you just write that down. 60 times 120 is equal to 75 times x. How do you get x by itself? How do you undo multiplication? We divide by 75. If you do it to one side, you must do it to the other side. The 75s are going to cancel out, so x is equal to whatever that math is. So go put that math in your calculator and see what the answer is and find it on the answer sheet. Okay? All right. That is it for the warm-up. I'll see you on the next video for exponents.